It's a pleasure and privilege for me to be an integral part of this interesting and exciting celebration. We had a very interesting reception today morning for the Chief Minister. And subsequent to that, we had a very intriguing press meet I've had when they asked me to speak for keynote. I said, if I put you the questions and subsequent answers which I gave as being testimony for you to believe, what sort of reorganization is taking place in terms of global economic momentum, and what sort of realignment, rebalancing taking place between countries and continents to sustain global growth. That's a great news for Indians and those who recognize India was a sleeping giant till then, can see what sort of reorganizations India is going through today, and for anyone who understands econometrics, clearly see this is going to be a very big opportunity, and change in market preference is very much visible in global decision making. We have seen the reflection in terms of trade. We are seeing the reflection in terms of investments. Today, last year, if you look at the global investments, FDI, apart from the United States, if you rank it in global order in terms of foreign direct investments, we rank number 7 as India, as a destination, as a reliable, financially stable and functional economy. That's a great news. We've mobilized over $59 billion as foreign direct investments. Extraordinary momentum is taking place in terms of reorganization, in terms of policy framework. Multiple brands in terms of retailing, liberalization in terms of aviation, liberalization in terms of banking, liberalization in terms of insurance, liberalization in terms of defense, liberalization in terms of real estate, are all opportunities hitherto was not recognized by global investors. Extraordinary set of reorganization is taking place in terms of policy making for us to see through global institutional investors recognizing this opportunity and pumping a huge asset allocations for India. That's true. If you speak to the global investors and private equity holders, you can see right from Tokyo to America, you can see the financial markets are driving these thoughts. While the financial market itself is a gambling ground in substance. If you print money and improve the money supply, you're weakening the currency. Artificially you are administering. India has not done it. It's a free market dynamic still. Extraordinary set of governance. While public-private partnership was pronounced in 1969, till date, it has been replicated by world over. The model which was originally pronounced as a mixed economy, and again, recognizing public-private partnership has to come for our financial institutions, has been the set of new norms, new normal for the world to recognize and setting well-governed, principle-centered public administration, public finance. That has been replicated in many parts of the world. That's also real. Look at the changing dynamics in the world. Financial markets are running through extraordinary set of decelerations. Currency market has destabilized commodity markets. When oil price was $147 in 2007, it is not that demand was exponential. It is not that supply was not there. It is the currency, dollar was weakening, and oil futures were responsible for such an acceleration. That was real in substance, and that drove the speculation. When oil was $147 and over $100, the Gulf states are predominantly cashing in terms of current account surplus, investable surplus, and sovereign funds were created as diversification as a structured solutions. And that was responsible for huge amount of financial stability for the Gulf states. Gone are the days where they had $2 trillion as 6 states put together, Gulf states. Right from Oman to Kuwait, the 6 states Gulf Cooperation Council states have generated investable surplus over $2.6 trillion. Sheikh Ali is sitting here. He can vouch for diversification of Qatar. If you look at today's context, we recognize still the financial stability is there for the Gulf states. Why? Those windfalls have helped us to stabilize in terms of diversification. Those investable surplus have been invested in multiple markets, multiple sectors for us to recognize this can be a source of the financial stability. That is helping us to make sure the absorption of the shocks in terms of oil price regression. That's helping us to make sure the current account deficit or fiscal deficits can be prudently managed if we reorganize the fiscal framework. And that's what exactly happening in the Gulf states. Today, 6 states put together generating 1.3 trillion. 1.3 trillion, if I split, topping in the list is Saudi Arabia with $618 billion. Second is UAE, $325 billion. Qatar comes third, that is $170 billion. Kuwait comes next, $127 billion. You have Oman doing 50 billion and Bahrain is putting around 30 billion. Sum it up, it is 1.3 trillion. As a percentage of GDP, the current account deficit is around 7%, 91 billion. That's not much. That's not much. You have investable surplus over 2.6 trillion. Global sovereign fund makeup, if you look at it, 1/3 comes from the Gulf states. It's easy for us to align the fiscal policy and monetary policy and drive the financial stability. It is possible. A prudent policy maker can do it. As an economist, I can tell you. As a banker, I can tell you. India, as a functional democracy, when it started reorganizing since 1990, the Qatari delegation has been astonished with the change in face of India. My managing director was traveling 3 years before I brought him after 10 years. He was surprised. The Qatari delegation was surprised to see the number of cars, type of cars, the kind of affluence India was generating. Subsequently, when he had inauguration last year, the finance minister as well as the central bank governor was there for our Mumbai branch inaugurations. They were all stunned with the kind of growth story India is witnessing. And today, when they see Kerala, and they're very surprised what sort of opportunity exists. Core econometrics, nothing to exaggerate, is a real order. India, if you look at it, $2.3 trillion economy with fiscal consolidation in the making, less than 5%, 4.9%. Current account deficit is measurable. Investable surplus is coming up in terms of foreign direct investments. And the stock markets are responsive, over 9% growth year to date. Currency is much more stable than the rest of the emerging markets. And you have clear policy making and politics is converging with economics. The Prime Minister himself was visiting the Gulf states and UAE was committing $75 billion in terms of investment in India. They were responsible for the smart city here, Dubai Holding. We have seen Qatar itself was coming together. We could see the chemistry when His Highness Emir of Qatar, when he visited last year, March, we could see the multi-phases agreement in terms of economic cooperations. And we are seeing this year, the Prime Minister was in Doha on June 5th. The kind of intensity in terms of trade or investment, banking and finance, we are seeing that here is an opportunity for us to recognize. India is coming together very much, not only the proximity, not only the human capital investments India has done, the opportunity exists in terms of core commercial prospects. That's the business model. And that's what we're excited about. That's what the opportunity is all about. That's what we need to recognize as business community. And that's what I was trying to tell today in the morning to the press. Within the India definition, if you look at Kerala in specifics, let me come to the point today. Why we are here today. Kerala itself, 34 million people. And 9.5% growth. And measurable deficit. And we have seen the market liberalization. We have seen SME clusters being announced. We have seen the free economic zones which is getting floated. We also seen the initiatives which are responsive to improve the investment climate, whether it is tourism. It's not only Kumarakom or Kovalam or Wayanad or, again, Mushrif heritage. We have bigger opportunity in terms of tourism for converging together with the Gulf states. We have seen the reflection in terms of infrastructure creation. The roads, rail, metro rail is coming up. Investment partnership can be created. We also seen market liberalization in multiple respects for small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. From here to come to Qatar, 2022 we are hosting in Qatar. 2020 is coming up in UAE. That's an opportunity for Indian business community has to realize. We're also seeing the bigger opportunity for Qatari investors, UAE investors, Gulf investors, sovereign fund, institutional investors to look at this market in specific terms. As long as principle-centered market liberalization comes in, as long as investment climate improves, which is improving as far as India is concerned, it has moved in the ladder in terms of investment climate. The market liberalization has set in a clear guided principles. It's economic precedes politics. And that's precisely the world community was looking at in India. That is precisely the reason till date it was not respected in terms of investment destination. Today it is getting recognized because the opportunity is still untapped. Huge market, name it, grossly underbanked, undercapitalized in terms of financial service, if I have to say in specific terms. We are seeing bigger opportunity in every state when they are redefining their business model. And every state is competing to mobilize international investments. That is what is exactly driving the change. What does it mean to you as a businessman? What does it mean? What does it mean to me as a bank professional intermediary? We are not a small institution. Our turnover, if you look at it in terms of balance sheet size, it's over 85 billion Qatari riyal, that is $27 billion. Today, there's one bank which has sustained its credibility last 15 years as a growth model. However gradual it is fully organic and gradual. There's no acquisition in turn, and we managed to sustain our credibility as a good institution. And that's what our model is all about. Measuring, managing the risk as an enterprise, ensuring gradual growth, synchronize your growth in terms of synergistic opportunity. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait, today, India, we are there. We recognize, my board deserves a big thanks from all of you. They were the one who asked me to go to India in 2005 and said, go and submit your application. When I had the privilege of accompanying His Highness Father Amir, I was in April 2005, I was in Delhi, along with the visit of His Highness. And after 9 years, last year we got the license, we commenced our operations in Mumbai. Today, we are in Kochi. That's not the end of it. We recognize this is going to be culturally coming together. We recognize the chemistry between the Gulf states and India is a logical fit in terms of trade, logical fit in terms of investments, logical fit in terms of banking. And that's precisely the reason why we want to invite you to come to Qatar. We want to invite you to come to Gulf states. And we are going to help and facilitate to make sure that you get what you want, as long as principle-centered banking is practiced. We want to make sure we facilitate the opportunity from the Gulf states, whether it is Qatar Investment Authority or Abu Dhabi Investment Authority or Kuwait Investment Authority. We want to make sure your investment partnership is initiated. We want to make sure you have a joint venture which is getting responded. Sensible businessman, good business model need to be supported because there is an interest in every single win-win model. And that's what precisely the reason why we are here today. That is precisely the reason why the Qatari delegation is here. They want to explore the opportunities. We want to make sure we build this model. We know this century belongs to India. We know this econometrics is not stoppable. Today, world over, recognizing this opportunity, and Gulf is recognizing the opportunity, Doha Bank is recognizing the opportunity, and precisely we want to manage this opportunity into reality. And precisely the reason why me and my team are excited about the prospects. Me and my board are excited about the prospects. So, in summarizing today's keynote, I want to tell you and reassure you, you're all in a country which is logically progressing. Our ancient civilization, culture, heritage is second to none. We transcended borders. Away from home, Indians are doing exceedingly well. Wherever you go, Indian food is transcended. Indian culture is transcended. Indian civilization is transcended. Indian dance is transcended. Indian cinema is transcended. Whether it is Bollywood or Kollywood or Malayalam films, they are transcending. India is getting globalized in substance. And that's precisely the excitement is all about. And clearly, just 2.5 hours from here, you have an exciting marketplace, and they have a good investment destination. They have an exciting market here. What we can't do in terms of combinations. What we can't do in terms of synergistic modeling. What we can't do in terms of the overall win-win model. And precisely the reason why we are here to recognize that. We welcome you once again. We welcome you to understand the opportunities. Me and my team, as an operational management, we will facilitate in the days to come, and we will build good business, because we believe by bringing gross welfare to your business, you as an individual, we can grow together. Together, we should grow tomorrow. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your kind attention.